Alright, so here I am driving again because I've decided that it's probably easier for me to make videos when I'm driving, because when I'm driving I'm not doing anything else except maybe drinking coffee and eating snacks. So I went to the pet store where I work and got myself a bunch of crickets and superworms. And anybody who doesn't know what a superworm is, it's the larval stage of some kind of beetle. And I don't think I'm going to feed those to my tarantulas, but I'm going to try to feed them to my chameleon. Yes, I have tarantulas. I've got 6 tarantulas. One of them is a pink toe. 2 of them are called striped knee or zebra stripe. One of them is a Panama blonde. And then I have a Mexican red rump and a Brazilian giant salmon bird eater. No, the bird eaters don't actually eat birds. They're called that because of their size. When they're full grown, they get pretty stinking big. Looking forward to it. Right now it's a teeny tiny little thing. And when I say teeny tiny, I mean it's probably only about 1.5 inches long. The Mexican red rump is even smaller. So finding crickets small enough, that's a little bit of a challenge. Little bit of a challenge. But they've survived the last few days. Hopefully they will continue to survive and they'll have good molts, because bad molts, you can't do anything about a bad molt. That's you know, something people don't understand. You know, you want a pet that's really easy to take care of and you don't have to do anything with it. Tarantulas are great for that, because all you got to do, once they reach, if you get them when they're still slings, that's what a baby tarantula is called. Baby spiders in it. They're called slings. So if you want to wait and get one that's actually a little bigger, that's probably not a bad idea. But I got mine as slings, and I didn't realize they were going to be that tiny when I got them. But if you can get them through, and you never know though, a bad molt, there's nothing you can do. Tarantulas are really relatively easy to take care of. Some of them are expensive, some of them are not. The Goliath bird eater, that's a $300 spider. I'm not spending that much money on a spider unless I really, truly, absolutely feel like I need to have it, which I kind of don't. I just got a text message flash across the top of my screen. So, yeah. The bird eaters don't actually eat birds. Most of them don't live in trees, they live on the ground. And they're not likely to catch a bird unless it falls out of the nest or is really small and it lands in front of them and they're hungry. Most bird eaters, once they reach full sight, they eat things like lizards and mice and other small animals that they would come across on their wanderings. I think I'm going to make sure that my next tarantula is another arboreal tarantula. Because I now have 6 tarantulas and 4 of them are terrestrial. I almost want to get a huntsman. That's not a tarantula. It's a true spider. I think it's a true spider. I just know it's a spider. So there's true spiders and then there's not true spiders. I don't really know. I mean, obviously, when you say tarantula, people kind of know what a tarantula is. True spiders are the things that you'd find in the corners of your rooms up in the ceiling. You know, things like that. Black widows are true spiders. There's the ogre face. I believe that would be considered a true spider. Orb weavers are true spiders, I believe. But the huntsman is a huntsman. And there is one called the Heteropoda David Bowie. Yes, that is a real thing. Heteropoda David Bowie. It's David Bowie. It's a huntsman spider that is kind of an orangey yellow. And they named it after David Bowie because he was a very colorful person. Very colorful. And I wouldn't mind having one of those, but I think I'd need to wait until my kids are not as small, not as young. And I don't even know if those are legal in the state of New Jersey, so that's another thing I'd have to look into. Because I live in New Jersey, and New Jersey is basically, it's the armpit of New York. Yeah, I did say that. Yeah, New York's an asshole, and New Jersey's its armpit. I feel very strongly about that. I think that there's a lot of people in New Jersey that don't understand that the reason that our property taxes are the way they are, and that we see nothing. We don't see the benefit of having the high property taxes, and we don't see, like, it's and it's not about mandates or anything with regards to vaccines and masks. I feel that anybody that forces you to do something that you don't feel you should have to do for your religious beliefs or your medical issues or whatever, then you shouldn't have to do it. You shouldn't be forced to choose between your job and your principles. You shouldn't have to choose between those two. But we have a governor who is tyrannical, and he's referred to as a ferret-faced piece of excrement. He's referred to as a socialist. He's referred to as a communist. He's referred to as comrade, because that's basically what he's doing. He's decided that since he's not going to get his way, because there's people in this state who actually have brains and think for themselves, well, you're not going to give me what I want, I'm just going to declare state of emergency. So, nah. Like, next time he goes to Italy, I would love for the Italian government to put him under house arrest and never let him leave that country again, because we don't need him here. We really don't. He actually just signed into law a law, you know, that when it was still being written out, that he supported fully, that I don't care if you're pro-choice or not. I'm not pro-choice. A lot of people don't seem to understand that the majority of abortions, I think it's 97, somewhere between 97 and 98% of abortions are done because somebody got pregnant and decided they didn't want to have a baby. So it's less than 3% of abortions are because of rape, because of incest, or the health of the mother. Okay. Ectopic pregnancy. That is an exception to the rule where, yes, the mother's health is at high risk if you leave that in there. So the baby is most likely going to die in an ectopic pregnancy, which is where the fertilized egg implants in the fallopian tubes instead of in the uterus. But life begins at conception. I don't care if you believe that or not. It happens to be a scientific fact. And Governor Murphy, Comrade Murphy, asshole Murphy, just signed into law. It's an abortion law, and it's codified. I'm not sure exactly what the codification means, but it allows for you to, if you decide, even if you're on your way to the hospital because you're in labor, it still allows you to decide to abort your child, to murder your child, that if you were to give birth to it because you're in labor, it would live. This law still allows for you to choose and have an abortion as long as the baby is still inside you. That is called child sacrifice, and anybody who supports that kind of law, there's a special place in hell for you. and you deserve it. So A, B, C, D, E, F, U, if you support that kind of law. And yes, I do feel extremely strongly about that. And no, I will never change my opinion about that. Now, on to other things. I live in New Jersey. New Jersey sucks ass. I can't wait to not live here anymore. Another thing about New Jersey that I don't understand, or why they have the gun laws that they have. And I guess people don't seem to understand that women's rights are gun rights. You know, if I feel that my life is going to fall to shit because somebody's trying to kill me, you damn well better believe I'm going to want to defend myself to the best of my ability. But the way the laws are in New Jersey, I am not allowed to defend myself unless somebody's breaking into my home. Then I'm allowed to defend myself. Not allowed to defend myself any other time unless it's simply using my hands or mace. Time to take a self-defense class. But there's other things too. I mean, there's no accounting. They're not held accountable. They need to be held accountable. Every single person that gets elected into a political position, you know, you're supposed to be a public servant. You're supposed to work for us. We don't work for you. And you need to remember that. And you need to go and you need to read the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution for whatever state you're in. Read those. Get informed. State's gone to shit. It really does deserve to fall into the ocean, just like California and New York. Take Washington, D.C. with you. Bunch of vipers in there. Anyway, I just completely went off the mark with this. Completely changed subjects. Anyway, I was talking about my chameleon and my tarantulas. And then I went on to the state of New Jersey because I don't know if a Goliath bird eater is something I'm allowed to have here. Anyway, this is a bag with 3 dozen crickets in it. Whee! They will be happily eaten by the chameleon, even if they're not happily eaten by the tarantulas. But the superworms, as I said, superworm is the larval stage of a certain type of black beetle. I'm hoping that the chameleon will like them. I'm actually, if things work out with this chameleon enough, I might want to get another one. But I think I'm going to get, I want to look into what kind of tarantulas are arboreal and get a couple more arboreal tarantulas. Just to even things out. One of my neighbors is getting ready to sell her house. She's going through a brain cancer treatment, and she's been having some issues with all of that. So she's living with her sister and her mom, and they're helping take care of her. I'm hoping she survives, even though she's going to sell the house. I hope she survives. And I hope whoever buys her house is really nice. Open-minded about conservative ideas. And believes in supporting our Constitution. Oh, I gotta get inside, get my shopping list. Bye for now.